I was in school on the day of the practice SAT. I had chosen to not take the test, so I went to school for 6 hours and did literally nothing but watch Beastars. I wish I was joking. All of a sudden, I heard a noise that would soon become all too familiar. A noise that came to mark a dark period of my life. A noise that to this day strikes fear into my heart.
Duolingo.
No.
Reach your language
No,
goals
please
fast
stop.
with premium features that optimize your learning.
No.
This is the story of my quest to reach the top of Duolingo. I've always been fascinated with languages. I started studying Spanish during my freshman year of high school with an absolutely psychotic teacher. During COVID, she would wear a mask with a window in it so you could see her mouth. She would make us unmute on Zoom and keep our cameras on at all times. That being said, it was still fun to learn something new. It was fun to see everybody on an even playing field because no one really understood what was going on. Eventually, I would advance to Spanish 2, 3, and 4 and become very competent in the language. A little tip for Spanish if you want to impress anyone you meet is to say "me estoy jalando." This is a very common and traditional Mexican greeting that will blow the socks off of anyone you talk to. Anyway, my journey started off so innocently. Innocent enough that I didn't even think to document the early days. I started by studying Danish, the language of my people. These courses started out stupidly easy. They repeat the same few lessons over and over until eventually, they dump a bunch of new vocabulary on you and expect you to instantly understand all of it. But then after that, they just go back to a review lesson. That's not important though. I studied Danish for a long time, doing maybe one lesson a day. I mean, was I even trying? That wasn't a winning strategy. I was going to quit Duolingo after a while because I thought it was a waste of my time. I thought I'd get a 100-day streak and then call it quits. Once I got there, I posted on my Instagram story to show the world what I was up to. Of course, this just wasn't enough. A girl who I've talked to maybe twice in my life was talking absolutely immense amounts of shit in my DMs. I'm not kidding, I think this was the first time she talked to me since 7th grade, and she came out really strong, like what was this all about? This was at 1:44 a.m, like, Marie, really, it's not that serious. At this point, I knew I couldn't give up. I had to make the 365 days to stick it to Marie. This would be my legacy. This would be how I could make my mark. I would show everyone that I mean business, and I'm not someone to mess with. It was at this point, I started to get bored with Danish. I was still doing it every day, but my progress was slowing down. Instead of sometimes doing a few lessons a day, I was doing one, and most of the time at the end of the night or in my chemistry class. It just wasn't working, so I decided to switch my main language to German, because I was going to Germany. I was not good at learning German. I still did my daily lesson, but I still didn't like it. There was no reason for me to continue. German was difficult. My daily use of Duolingo wasn't something for me to look forward to anymore. It wasn't something that I could just do before bed. With German, it was a slog. What is wrong with these people? I guess I see why they're so sad. After a while, I was just doing random lessons in random languages. I just didn't care anymore. This was until I had discovered it, what people call the easiest language to learn. Surely, this was my way to the top. All of a sudden, it mattered. There was a clear path to the end. It could be accomplished. I could learn a new language without sitting through a class every day. I started really grinding Duolingo at the end of September. I was so close to reaching a year streak, but now I knew that that wasn't the only thing that mattered. I had to reach the top. I had to be the best. So I made an important change. I had to change the most iconic thing about my account, my profile picture. There was now a new look for Bartholomew Cornelius III, a line cook who I had an argument with on Twitter. This was what I needed. This was my route to the top. With the power of Indonesian, I quickly advanced up the leagues. On the 2nd of October, I had made it at the end with this league. This was for the great nation of Indonesia. Saya mau jeruk, I yelled. This was the most important journey of my life. With my legacy on the line, I advanced to the Pro League. At this point, people stopped fucking around. This was real. This was war. Indonesian was already my second most studied language at this point. The Pro League was full of new enemies, like the fierce Jamie Lynn Gibson, who had 10,000 XP on Irish for some reason. Good for you, Jamie. There was also Maddie with a 1,000-day streak. This would be an uphill battle. With 1 day left in the Pro League, I was out of the promotion zone. I couldn't just let this happen. I had to make it to the top. I grinded all of the school day, and I was able to make it to 5th place. This would have to do. The next day was homecoming, the biggest day of my high school career. But someone had knocked me out of the promotion zone once again. I had to grind Duolingo at homecoming. It was the only way.
Hey, look. I gotta fucking do this, bro. I gotta get this streak, bro.
I did it. I was in the Obsidian League. I was so close to the highest league. After this week, not only would I have a year-long streak, but I would have reached the top of the mountain. This is when I met my nemesis, Sally, a retiree who had nothing to do all day except for grind Duolingo. She literally had 696,000 experience on French. What the hell? My other enemy was myself, Kelly, another absolute grinder of the game. In this league were people who had streaks over a year long. These people made Jamie and Maddie look like amateurs. On October 10th, I made it to the promotion zone. There was an insane amount of grinding required because only 5 people can advance out of this league. I had reached the end of my rope. At this point, I was spending actual hours on Duolingo a day. I was done. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to send a message to Sally and my competitors. On October 11th, Indonesian was my top language. Indonesian had reached the top, and now it was my turn. I reached 3rd place. It was my time. All my hard work was going to be worth it. On this day, I made Indonesian food to psych myself up. Out of respect for the country of Indonesia, I will show some examples and not what I made. The next day, I was out of the promotion zone. What the fuck? Did these people not have jobs? I was 7th, but it was still in reach. How innocent I was on this day. I didn't know that this would be the end of my journey. By all means, it seemed like a normal day. I had reached 5th place and I was well within range to be promoted. But that day, at 10:23 a.m., as I was grinding out Duolingo in my chemistry class where I averaged 22% on quizzes, I wish that was a joke, I was logged out of my account. 563-day streak, and so close to reaching the end. Big Duolingo had stopped me. I tried my password, my other password, the third password I never used for anything anymore, and none of them worked. I tried to forget my password, and still nothing. It was impossible. I tried to log in on my friend's phone, but still nothing. Why had they silenced me? Why? What did I do wrong? This is my chance, my only chance to make my mark. I once again tried and failed to make Indonesian food to appease the Duolingo gods, but it was all for naught. Out of desperation, I tried to get the help of the Duolingo Twitter guy. He didn't help at all. I called the Duolingo helpline several times, with no luck. My streak, my hard work, gone in the blink of an eye. What was it all for? I don't speak Indonesian. Marie has a longer streak than me. Sally has more experience. My chance to make my mark was gone. But after a year of waiting to make this video, I now realize that nothing lasts forever. In thousands of years, I won't exist. Nobody I've ever known will exist. Sally will probably die in a few years, let alone 1,000, but I will still be there to remember her. Will English exist? Will Indonesian exist? Does anything actually matter? I'm not sure. But I know there's another chance for me to make my mark on this world. In May of 2024, I'll be taking the Italian AP exam, the final AP exam of my academic career. This will be fully self-studied, my greatest challenge yet. I'm once again using Duolingo to learn. So if you see Gregory 91101 in your league, remember my plight. Remember my name. Remember the name of Bartholomew Cornelius III, for nothing matters unless you make it matter.